Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 14th leg in Rome. Welcome to the penultimate stage of the LGCT season. Welcome to Cerchi Massimo, built inside two of the 7 famous hills that this magical city is built on. And we have the privilege, we have the pleasure of being live here today on GCTV to bring you this thrilling end to the LGCT season. My name is Mark Lewis, and it's sensational to be with you here today because the storylines that we have lined up, how the season is written out like a Hollywood script, has been magical. And because of that, between now and the end of the evening, we are hopefully going to have the next chapter. The big question is, can it be the final chapter to the Longines Global Champions Tour season at the end of the night? Will Harry Smulders be crowned champion? What is the bigger picture around his championship hunt? Can it even be ended tonight? If so, how? Who is still in the race? Who has qualified for today's LGCT Grand Prix? All of that information will be given to you between now and the start of the Grand Prix coming up in a couple of moments' time. Wonderful to have you on board. First, though, before we begin, on a slightly lighter note, here in the famous eternal city of Roma, we spoke to some of the riders and asked them whether or not they are quite familiar with what's around us here in Rome.
Ciao everyone, ciao Mark, that's right, we are in one of the most historical cities in the world with so much ancient history. We've got ancient buildings, ancient landmarks and monuments as well, but we also have some of the most famous riders. So we decided to put some of the top riders to the test to see how many landmarks they knew. And I tell you something, this was not easy.
All right, so this is of course Colosseum.
Correct.
Colosseum.
I think it's the Colisée.
Colosseum.
This is the Colosseum. Yeah, this is Colosseum. I think this one everybody would know.
And this I've been inside here in this church.
The Pantheon.
No idea what this is. The Pantheon.
Pantheon.
I could blame it on my history in school, was very bad.
Oh Jesus. My history teacher will kill me.
I think Vatican City,
No.
No?
Well, that I don't know.
Yeah, that one is the Fontaine de Trevi.
Very good.
I think it stays with one good fight. This is like where they throw all the coins in.
Trevi Fountain.
And the Vatican.
This is Vatican City,
Very
finally.
Now, let me tell you, whoever was the history teacher for Julien Epayard in school deserves a massive raise. Julien Epayard, I wasn't keeping score, but seems to be the winner of that landmark challenge. And I'll also tell you something else for free, that I would have been very lucky to get just a single one of those correct. So the rider's doing far better than I think a lot of people are giving them credit for. The conversation now turns about who is in this Grand Prix, and in particular, who is still in this championship race. The fantastic news is that every single rider inside the LGCT overall standings, inside that top 10, has qualified for today's LGCT Grand Prix. The top 10, let's show you, are all in today, which means this is the strongest field we can possibly have. The top 10 in the championship standings all here. But why then is Andreas Skau, Peter Vos and Edwina Tops Alexander's faces grayed out? And because means, despite being inside today's Grand Prix, they are officially out of the championship race. Only those riders in colour, from Julien Epayard up to Michael van der Vleuten, only those riders inside the top 10 are still technically and mathematically inside the LGCT championship hunt. Harry Smulders, Michael van der Vleuten and the rest of them are in the hunt. And arguably one of the most dangerous men in that race is going to be Julien Epayard. And what a season that man has had here in 2023. In fact, he's standing by alongside with Rosie Tapner. Let's get some more reaction to the wonderful Frenchman and the season that he's had in 2023. Rosie?
Yeah, thank you, Mark. He really has had a fantastic season. Julien, just reflect on the season for us because it has been amazing.
Yeah, it was super. Donatello win already 2 Globals Tour. Okay, and yeah, I have a good stable, nice horses. Yeah, we enjoy.
Are you aware today that you could be joining the record with 3 wins, stage wins, with just a few other people? Only 3 horses have done it before, but Donatello could be one of them. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, I know that, but okay. Monaco was very an objective for me. The horse arrived very fit in Monaco. Here, I think he have a long break. It's only his second show. I don't know. We see how he is. He jumped super yesterday, but I don't feel him like 100% fit. So try to do our best today.
He must have filled you with great confidence yesterday. It was a spectacular round for you, though. Coming into this today, do you have a bit of confidence there?
Yeah, I know very well my horse now. I know him. Like I said in Monaco, the horse the day before the Grand Prix need a run little bit going. It's easier for me the next day. I just have to wait a little bit. But okay, today will be a tough Grand Prix. A lot of good horses, good rider this weekend. So yeah, we see.
He's also a homebred horse for you as well. So how much more satisfying is that?
Yeah, it's super satisfaction. Yeah, it's second horse rebreed with my wife winning a 5-star Grand Prix. We have a usual suspect Doge before and him now. So yeah, we keep going breeding and trying to build good horses and top horses.
Well, listen, the bell's gone, so you can walk the course. So I'll let you go. Good luck later.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rosie. Thank you very much to Julien Epayard. Always humble is the Frenchman. But now the big question becomes just how dangerous a threat, how big of a threat is Julien Epayard going to be for this LGCT title? Well, this will take a few steps, so bear with me. We'll take you through it moment by moment by moment to try and give you the clearest indication as to who the biggest threats are in this 2023 LGCT season and this penultimate stage. Let's bring up the championship standings for you and start from the very beginning. This is how it looks now, as it stands. Harry Smulders leads ahead of Michael van der Vleuten, Simon de Lestre, Koekoek and von Eckermann, as we can see. Now, Julien Epayard may look as if he's down in 6th place, but as you can notice, the 13 stages that have been completed thus far in the 2023 season, I remind you that only the best 8 scores count. And if you do the maths with me on Julien Epayard, 18, 40, 20, 40, 31, 14 and 29 does not count for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That only gives him 7 scores, which means today is a full maximum capture for Julien Epayard. If every one of these riders were to go on and win today, this shows you the maximum points that these riders can get to. So, Harry Smulders, Michael van der Vleuten, etc. A maximum points haul by the end of Rome today would look like this. But obviously now that means that some of these riders already would not win the championship even with a win today. Now because of that, it means that we can eliminate a couple of the riders. Edwina Tops-Alexander, Peter de Vos and Andreas Schouw, as we pointed out, therefore are officially out of the race. So, you ask us, who is in for this title? From Max Kühner up to Julien Epayard, up then to the rest of those riders. These are the only competitors who are still officially in the 2023 Longines Global Champions Tour race. But it is very complicated. It is very convoluted. And I imagine even Frederik de Backer on 15 Espressos here in Roma might have a difficult time to try and explain this. But he and I will try our best. I would hate to see you on 15 Espressos. You would be a nightmare. But Frederik de Backer, I don't even know how to pose this to you because there are so many scenarios. Simplify it for my very, very basic brain. Where are we, my friend? How does this look and how can one of the 500 possibilities play out today?
Well, it shows our excitement for this sport and for this Longines Global Champions Tour, for this championship over 15 stages. Basically, maybe we are one stage too early to start calling it. There are still 7 riders in the race and Smulders has got the smallest of chances to already clinch the title here this weekend. But then everything has to go right for him. Call it a podium finish, and everything has to go wrong for those 6 other riders, and that seems very unrealistic. It's margins, it's few percentages. From there, he does have the chance to knock out a lot of other riders out of the race. I'm thinking of Henrik von Eckermann. I am thinking of maybe even Christian Koekoek. De Lestre is quite safe, but De Lestre has to perform. But there is a fair chance that going into Riyadh, we will just have Michael van der Vleuten and Harry Smulders going into that final stage to win the championship. He could win it here, Smulders. It's very unlikely, but it's very likely that he will knock a whole bunch of those 7 out of the race before we go to Riyadh.
Okay, so to confirm, that seems to be the big news today. Is there an opportunity that Harry Smulders can win it today? Yes, but as Frederick says, a lot needs to go his way. The more realistic outcome here is that he will begin to eliminate the competitors that are underneath him. Frederick de Backer will let you go. You prepare for your course walk. We'll come back to you in a few moments' time. So maybe that is going to be the primary objective of Harry Smulders here today. Would he like to win it in Rome? Absolutely. But realistically, for him to get onto the podium and for every other competitor around him to fail might seem like somewhat of a stretch. But a really strong performance from him today, and a few others might begin to remove a few names off that list and just shrink that competitors' field going into Riyadh, the 15th and final stage of the LGCT season in a couple of weeks' time. During commentary, Frederick de Backer will give us even more updates. We, of course, here on GCTV will continue to provide those updates throughout the afternoon. Let's take a break. Let's catch our breath. When we return, we speak to more of our competitors and we head back into the ring for today's course walk. Welcome back to the city of Rome. Welcome back to the penultimate stage of the Longines Global Champions Tour, stage 14 in Rome, waiting to take that stepping stone to Riyadh, the 15th and final stage, and so much needs to happen today. We saw how dramatic the Global Champions League was yesterday and how important it was in the overall standings. Could we possibly even dare to begin to imagine that a day like today could be as equally dramatic and as equally telling going into Riyadh? We'll find out over the next couple of hours. Harry Smulders will be hoping for something a little less dramatic and a little calmer for him. But the big question is going to be, what are the riders going to have to jump today? What has Giuliano Vizzani designed for round one of this LGCT Grand Prix? Let's head back into the ring. Frederick de Backer is standing by for today's course walk.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the course walk of the 14th Grand Prix of the season. It is on Italian soil, it's on home soil for Giuliano Vizzani. And he really has brought out something special. Very early already in the line from 3 to 4, he brought out their first question. It is a very much holding 5 strides to this vertical at fence 4 with the Liverpool underneath. It starts very normal, 8 strides 1 to 2, then a long loop, and then depending on with how much impulsion that you jump that oxer, that'll depend on how you get into this line. If you get too much swing here, this will get very tight and you need to find yourself a little bit of room because the Liverpool's underneath, the pole is in the top slots, and it's a holding 5 in this line. And then we get going again. There is a rollback here to this triple bar. Now, there's plenty of people in here, and I'm trying to give you an idea where we are. This is where we are. There are so many options in how to approach this triple bar, but you want to make it nice and tidy and get well approached, well square for the triple bar. And normally from Vezzani you would expect something to come up straight away after, and I don't think so. You don't really have that. It's the next approach to, what is that, fence 6, is literally on the eye. You hear a lot of riders say that, get it on the eye. So he opens them up, then you jump that oxer into the corner, and I don't know if you can see this, but here I'm actually at the highest, wait a minute, go back, rewind, here, oh there's Peter de Vos, we let him pass, here I'm at the highest point of the ring, and then it slopes down just a little bit, so I'm just wondering if Ujano Vezzani wants to open them up on the triple bar, get them with a big jump over fence 6, that's right, there you can see the width on that oxer, again to play a little bit with the balance, because then he comes up with this, and that's on the other side, that's the approach to fence 7. So the maybe lack of balance, the slight downhill slope, and then you come into this line. Jens Bachmann wiping away the sweat off his face because this is, we can barely see Edwina Tops-Alexander behind this plank. And she goes walking with Jan Tops, very tall plank. Officially this is 1.60 meters. Depending on how you get here, that'll have the impact on the next jump. Because it's a plank and because it's so tall, you want to get a little bit more room at the beginning. But if you get more room at the beginning, you'll get more room at the end. Let's quickly chat with one of the few Italians that have ever won a Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix. It's Lorenzo De Luca, and every time we meet each other, Lorenzo, how are you doing?
Like me.
That's a question I'll leave to you to answer. Lorenzo, is it true, am I right in saying 5, 6, 7 feels a little bit all open and downhill? Is that too much of an explanation?
No, a little bit downhill for sure, and that big oxer just in front of the gate is gonna get some horses for sure a little bit flatter than what we think. And yeah, middle of the course, and then I think after the plank, then is the difficult part coming, but it's very delicate and very big at the end, so yeah.
Do you like quizzes?
What I like?
A quiz?
It depends.
Okay. Can you name me all the Italians that have stood on the podium of the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix in Rome? We've been coming here since 2015. Which Italians have stood on the podium of Rome?
None.
You're a winner. Congratulations. He won 2 Grand Prix himself. He won in Shanghai and in the same year in Valkenswaard with his very good horse Ensor de Litrange. Maybe he can make it now a 3rd win for him. But never did an Italian rider stand on the podium of a Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix in Rome. We were first at Stadio de Marmei, if you remember, and then since 2021 we're now here at the Circo Massimo. And this is what they're all talking about the 7 strides that lead you into it. Is a little bit open, is it a little bit short? It all depends on how you jump the plank, and how you, which horse that you are actually riding that will decide on the approach coming into this combination. You can see already that the vertical is very tall. Just keep your eye on how deep that vertical sits into the corner. And there's one more thing that I want to show you. I hope I don't catch Lorenzo again, but it's the approach. So we jump the combination. I was just fooling with you. We jump the combination 8A. We come down to 9, which is right there, the Longines Global Champions Tour Oxer. And then we go into 10 ABC. That's a triple combination. It's vertical, Oxer, and then 2 strides, Oxer again. Who can I chat to? It's Kim M, and I can chat to about the approach into this triple combination. First of all, tell me how it walks. Second, tell me how you think it should be ridden, the approach into the triple.
Okay, I think we have from the combination to the Oxer, it's quite a long line, so I think the riders will speed up for the time allowed, to don't get time penalties. And then I think it's a 6 into the combination.
But it will ride
I think it will also ride on the 6.
6, okay. I spoke with Abdel Said and he rides a 7. He's thinking of a 7. Do you see a 7 in here?
It is possible. If you ride a little bit more from the outside there to the other outside, then you can also ride a 7.
Plenty of options in this course built by Ojana Vezani. Let you go, let you walk the course. Kim Emmen, who next year will be part of Ken Starr's powered by Iron Dames in the 2024 GCLCs. But that's for next year. We're almost done, actually. We only have the final line to jump. And we're always talking about not optical illusions, but the detail of Ojana Vezani, the colors that he plays with, the detail, the small margins. I just want to, if you turn, I just want to make you look at fence 13. It's on a 6-stride approach, and look at that plank. Now, it's not so much the plank, but look at the background of it. It's a wide plank against a wide background on wide sand with wide fences behind. It's a lot of jumping, especially at the end. It's a lot of jumping, and they really have to be focused right up until the end. And again, he puts it really deep, right by the edge of the ring, so horses not only have to focus, they have to stay straight. They can't tip to the left, they can't tip to the right. Riders have to stay focused. Time allowed is on your mind. That's quite a question to answer. Let's quickly ask how tall Richard Howley is, because that'll give us an idea. Richard, can we ask you a very private question? It's good that you say yes, because otherwise I was left hanging dry here. Richard, how tall are you?
Not as big as these jumps, I don't think.
How tall are you?
I don't know, 5'7".
Okay, 5'7". I don't know what 5'7" is. Are you? No, that's just over 1.60 m.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't be measuring myself too often.
Okay, note from Mark Lewis. Bring a measuring stick to Riyadh so we can measure Richard Howley. Richard, give me an idea about this course. What's on your mind? What worries you?
Big jumps. I think straight away, turning back to the triple bar off a blind bend. It's a very big jump. Again, ox away from the gate, the plank. After that, very tall. They back off to a very flat 7. I think maybe if you get a bit of a high hesitant jump at the plank, a couple of people will do 8, just to rebalance a bit. And then again, pick up your canter again. Big oxer. Bit quiet to the combination.
What's quiet for you?
6. Yeah, I think just really try and stay wide so you can jump in slow and then leg through the combination, oxer. Big vertical, very short 4 towards the end of the course. A very open oxer, 3 poles with the trays underneath, and then flat home to this big plank.
If you ever stop riding, there's a job for you at Longines Global Champions to explaining courses, Richard Howley. That is the course mark, 14th Grand Prix of the season. One more golden ticket here for the winner, and well, also a championship at stake. We're ready.
Thank you very much, Fredrik de Backer. I think that Richard Howley and I might well walk into the same top plank there, but we'll leave that alone. If he does want to come join the Longines Global Champions Tour, GCTV here, hey, Richard Howley, the door is always open for you. Now, the big question is we talk about these competitors, we talk about these riders, who is in with a shout and who is not. One of the big, dangerous men that we know that every single time he steps into a ring, he has to be seen as one of the major favorites. What would it do for his championship hopes if Henrik von Eckermann were to win today again on King Edward, much like he did in Stockholm earlier on this year? Rosie Tapner is standing by with the king to find out about today's event.
Well, Henrik, you've just walked the course. What are you thinking when you see this?
Oh, it's a very delicate course. It's a quite small ring and jumps coming quickly, and very light poles, and it's. I don't think we're going to see 12 clears anyway. I'd be surprised, but we will see.
How's King Edward feeling after yesterday?
Good, very good. So I have big hopes, of course, but on this course it's very easy to have a rail. Like I said, especially the last line. It's a very short 4 to an oxer, and then the plank as the last one. When the horses start to run out a little bit of power, easy to have a fault.
It's a really influential stage as well. Are you thinking about the championships?
No, I'm thinking of riding good today and try to make the best round for my horse, and then we see from there what's going on.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Very cool, very calm is Henrik von Eckermann. King Edward, he says, feeling very good. Well, that is an ominous warning sign to the competitors around him for today's LGCT Grand Prix of Rome. Another man who has a lot to gain today because of those top 8 scores counting in the 2023 season is that of Max Kühner. So during the Global Champions League, we sat down with Max to get some reaction for today's LGCT, but also perhaps more importantly to learn more about Max Kühner the man than just Max Kühner the rider.
You are not just a show jumper. There is so much more to your life. Tell us about your daily routine and what you do.
Get up early in the morning, depends a little bit how many horses I have to ride, and then I start to ride and train a little bit, make the plan for the day for the stable, and then I leave to the office, take care of my office stuff. Yeah, also in my business we have quite a lot to do with the horse business. We finance horse trucks and other things around the horse sport. So there's also always a little bit networking in the horse business. And then, trying to be early enough back for dinner with the whole family and spend a little bit time with my family. The success, which is always nice to have, but it's also short. The working with the horse, seeing how horse and riders get closer and understand each other. When you feel that you create something together, that's a good feeling. We see the horse and the rider in the ring, but there are so many more people behind us, and if one of them wouldn't do a perfect job, it doesn't work. We have, of course, the grooms who are so close to the horses and are with the horses all the time, travel with the horses. We need the grooms at home. We need the blacksmiths. We need the vets. And indeed, our sport is more a team sport than an individual sport.
Where do you find these horses and what age are you looking at them for?
Just looking for talents. Less about the age, more about talents. And this could be like Electric Blue we bought as end of 2 years old. There it starts. Somehow you can get an idea about the horse. It needs a long time till a talent gets a 5-star Grand Prix horse. There's a lot to do and to work with the horses till you have this blind understanding of each other, till you can handle these difficult tracks. You only can manage that if you work on it together. For sure I will stay and enjoy the sport for some more years. My kids are also coming up, showing some talent with the horses. That's also a lot of fun.
Do they listen to you?
Yes, they listen quite well. Maybe not in general, but when it's about horses, they listen.
In true father fashion, do your kids listen to you? In general, no, but when it comes to riding, yes. Well, if your dad was the rider that Max Kühner is, I would probably listen to him as well. Let's not forget, Max Kühner, of course, European medalist not too long ago. His kids, in fact, as well, European medalists in their own age category. So, the Kühner family household, Max is showing some talent. Well, they certainly have a huge amount of talent. Speaking of a huge amount of talent, we are going to gather and have been gathering throughout the 2023 season the biggest amount of talent for the LGCT Super Grand Prix at the Prague playoffs later on this year. At the end of every single LGCT Grand Prix, we give away a golden ticket, or throughout the season, I beg your pardon, we give you a ticket to the Super Grand Prix. And this is how it stands from Doha in the beginning of the season to where we find ourselves now. Your winners along each and every leg, taking home that crucial golden ticket to compete in the LGCT Super Grand Prix. Bertrand Allam in A Coruña, Max Kühner already in the bag, and that's because Harry Smulders had already picked his up. Jessica Springsteen in London, a wonderful victory for her. And Sanne Thijssen from Valkenswaard, talk about an emotional victory. But the big question now is that Rome is still blanked out. We will find out in the next few hours which of these riders will then fill in that Rome gap and join that list of riders to compete in the LGCT Super Grand Prix. Talking about emotion, talking about fairy tale stories, there are very, very few perhaps that match the energy level, that match the emotional level than that victory of Sanne Thijssen back in Valkenswaard in the previous leg. Let's take you back to the Netherlands and remind you what took place in the previous stage.
Show jumping fans, welcome to the state-of-the-art Longines International Arena in Valkenswaard. Ben Meer. This is the final line of the final fence for Big Ben, thundering down with Dallas Vegas Party, double clear. And Wiener Tops Alexander, he's one step closer to that 12th win, is double clear. Sanne Thijssen with Konkidam. Leave it standing, 8 into the combination. Slow down, you've got time. Take your time, and then race and go. You can win it. What you left, Sanne Thijssen! Oh my! Max Kühner. Kühner put up a fair fight, but it's Sanne Thijssen's Grand Prix.
Yeah, I'm really happy. Really like to be here. It's also close to my home. Everything is perfect, everything is finished, the stables, and today the crowd is unbelievable.
Who will write their name in the history books here this afternoon in Rome as we get prepared and ready for the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix of Roma. Thank you for joining us here on GCTV. We have a tenor singing live for us in the arena, as you would only expect and imagine in the city of Rome. Thank you for being with us, and we look forward to bringing you this LGCT Grand Prix. And more importantly, we look forward to seeing who is going on to win today's LGCT Grand Prix, and who then will pick up their golden ticket and their entry into the Super Grand Prix in the Prague playoffs later on this year. My name is Mark Lewis. Stay tuned to GCTV and the LGCT Grand Prix of Rome.
Welcome to the city of Seven Hills, welcome to the eternal city, welcome to the cradle of Western civilization and Christian culture. In short, welcome to Rome for the 14th Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix of the season, and a Grand Prix that might decide on the outcome of the championship, on the coronation of the winner here in this very, very special and historical city. The 14th Grand Prix of the season has all 10 championship contenders still in it. Well, all 10 out of the top 10 are in the Grand Prix, but only 7 of them are actually still able to win this series. There you have the Altare della Patria, one of the few recent monuments, actually. The white palace that you saw there, inaugurated in 1911. So though this is full of history, that's actually just 100 years old. How bizarre is that? In the background, you do see the Colosseum, as we here have a look at the previous winners. Koekoek last year, Mali Paljard Jonsson and Olivier Robert in 2021, when we had the 2 stages in the single season, and Ben Meer with Explosion, back-to-back wins, one of very few riders and horse combinations to produce back-to-back Grand Prix wins from one stage to the next a year later. Remnants of the Colosseum, of the eternal city, of all those historical landmarks align this Circo Massimo, which is basically the racetrack or the arena where 2,000 years ago gladiators in horses and chariots fought each other to death to decide on life and death, racing up and down this, 1 kilometer stretch, then turn around the trees. The tree that you see there is actually a landmark where they should turn and then race back. This is the standing of our gladiators. Smulders leads over Van der Vleuten by 14 points. Then it is De Lestre who follows. Koekoek is in 4th. Von Eckermann is in there. Then Epayar tops Alexander, and Kühner, who just like Epayar only has 7 counting results. So both of them are in a very, very good position to close up on Smulders, because Smulders has to improve on his 8th worst score, which is basically finish 14th or higher. Kühner and Epayar, whatever they take out of this Grand Prix, it gets added to their score. St. Peter's Basilica, right there. That's with the telly lens. That's quite far away on one of the 7 hills. Romulus and Remus, remember. Mount or Hill Romulus, one of those 7 hills. And here we are in the valley between 2 of the 7 hills, right by the Tibere River. Let's have a look at what Uliano Vezzani, another Italian, has come up with to test riders and horses in his 14th Grand Prix. It starts with the first line, obviously, and it shows you that it's a straight line. It actually isn't. There's a slight bend in it. If it would be straight, it's 7, but with the bend, this line is actually an 8-stride approach. There's no real inside turn, in fairness. It's an outside bend in the approach to fence 3, and then it's a holding 5 strides to a Liverpool vertical at maximum height, but the oxer before is quite big. You roll back and you have to cut in between 2 fences, and it's very blind out of the corner that you then find this very wide triple bar, 1.90 meter wide and 160 tall. And then the downhill slope starts. Big oxer, and it throws you out of the line to the next fence. So you'll have to reorganize and make sure you have the balance right. Depending on how you jump, that plank, that is a mosaic plank at plus meter 60, it is 7, but maybe even 8 strides into this combination. If you get 8, that is because the horse really backs off from the plank, from the wall, and you have to reorganize. But then you might have an issue with the first oxer if you get too deep to the front rail or can't stretch over the meter 60 back rail. And then coming out, it is meter 60 tall. Do see how deep this vertical sits into the corner. Lots of horses will have the tendency already to drift to the left. There's a bit of a loop here so you can make up time, but you don't want to rush the next line. Fence 9 into the triple, that is on 6 strides. The 6 strides, when I walked them, they walked a little bit sheepish. So I wonder if an outside 7 is there. Probably it is if you jump more to the outside of 9. But then you might get stuck here with a double of oxers to come out of this Longines triple combination. Vertical, 1 stride, this oxer at B, and then 2 strides and the oxer at C at meter 55 by meter 60 width. We pass the in-gate and get to another very technical line. He's been smart here, Uliano Vezzani. There's never 3 strides, but it walks as 3.5, but you'll have to ride it as a very short 4 to that oxer, and then it's 6 to the wide planks at the end of the course at fence 13. Wide planks with a wide background on white sand. Very difficult for horses to judge already jumping into the turn. And this is the devil himself. Or is he an angel? Well, we'll let the riders decide on that, depending on how they fare and how they jump this course, with what result they come out. They will have their opinion on whether he is an angel or a devil in disguise. Uliano Vezzani, the Italian. It was yesterday a very tough Grand Prix qualifier with very little clears, and you only got into this Grand Prix on a score of 8. In fact, the first 9 riders in this Grand Prix jumped for 8 penalties in the qualifier, and only a small group come in unclear. But of course, points from yesterday are irrelevant. This is an interesting man. He's last to go from yesterday's qualifier. He won the qualifier with Donatello Doge, and he can write history with Donatello. Can become the 4th horse in LGCT history to win 3 Grand Prix in a single season and join Casal, Explosion and Hello Santos. How about that? Here's your start list. Riders coming in on 8 penalties from the qualifier. They start on 0, obviously. Aznar, Aldohami, Kuku, Casadei, Stout, Sanotelli, De Lestre and Peder Felix on the 2021 champion. Also Oliver Lazarus from South Africa. He qualified on 8 yesterday, does it again with his good butterfly NML. Then over to Underhill, Bachmann tops Alexander Lupino, the Italian Jérôme Guéry. Lupino, by the way, with his very first LGCT Grand Prix. De Luca, on the other hand, has already won 2 in Shanghai and in Valkenswaard in previous years. And then we move further down, and as from Rodrigo Gisterra Almeida, who is on the next page. These are all still on 4. There is King Edward, there is H&M Indiana, there is Up to Jaco Blue, there is Stargold. No lack of horsepower in this Grand Prix, no doubt about that. But then from Almeida, we have the clears. Almeida double clear yesterday. Kawai clear, Kraut clear, Van der Vleuten clear. It's all about the championship at that point with Van der Vleuten, Smulders and Epaya within the next 5 rides of the end. We will try to guide you through the stage happenings, but also the championship happenings, because so late in this season, so much is at stake, and nothing can go wrong for any rider who has the ambition to win the Longines Global Champions Tour Series 2023. With Smulders on the best foot, with Van der Vleuten behind him, then De Lestre, then Koekoek, and the rest of the field. The duel on this field of gladiators is opened by Eduardo Alvarez Aznar, the Spaniard, 38-year-old, 39-year-old I should say, from Madrid, with Vigo CC Offspring and Joy de la Mure, French bred, who now jumps his very first Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix, and interestingly jumped 2 rounds yesterday and now jumps him in the Grand Prix, feeling confident about the fitness of Enjoy de la Mure. Aznar, who started the season beautifully in Miami, finishing 2nd in the Grand Prix behind Van der Vleuten. 8 strides in the first line up to Lugano Diamonds. Time allowed, ladies and gentlemen, is 81 seconds. The holding 5er next. And there it goes, because you want the small jump, which he got. You don't stretch over the back rail. It's 4 for Aznar. And now into the line, gets very tight. This is a young horse, doesn't look much at the plank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flowing 7. Jumps that well. Push, and then 2 strides to up the tempo, to up the momentum. Last line coming up. 81 seconds time allowed. Is nice and tidy around the bend here. Good jump. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Get a little bit open for him, and he makes the time in 76.11 and is vaulted only at fence 3. What a good debut on the Longines Global Champions Tour for Enjoy de la Mure and Eduardo Alvarez Aznar. Not a bad run at all for Eduardo Alvarez Aznar. And Enjoy de la Mure, great debut. He wants the small jump so he can get the 5 easily. He got the 5 easily. It did land on the back rail. Ramzi El Duhami is next. A Saudi rider who is in with his good mare Untouchable. They've struggled with the pace in the past, but Aznar just under 5 seconds inside the time. But here already it feels